Hi, Trevan. I wanted to give you video feedback. Um, Not everybody got this month, but you have so much great work, and it really, I really have to work hard to think about in what ways it could be improved if it can. And so I'm only going to give you suggestions, but the most important thing is your work looks great. You've showcased that very well, and that's really the main thing, right? But if I were to make suggestions, I think it would have to do with how things are navigating. And, this is great. You have a drop down menu that is not covering up content. That makes it, useful. Um, some of the images, and I know we can get to things in multiple ways. If I go here, the thing is, everything is looking great. I understand these are different types. It seems like, if this is the client, then, put that here. This kind of makes sense, but maybe the client is here, but you want general real estate. So I get that. But some of these others are a little more specific. And I think it's, like I said, it's only because we're using this term. It could be uh, something more general. So that's one consideration. Uh, the other thought is some of these pieces, they're all beautiful, and the font is working over it just really terrific. If you did nothing, it would be fine. But the navigation is a little heavy, a little uh, like a maze. This, technically, in copywriting, we try not to have a single line by itself. I understand this is sort of like a call to action, and I get that. Maybe even, a button, but here on some of these, when we choose learn more, beautiful images. You can read the text, it's just fantastic. In this case, there is a little more, but some of them, there's really not more. So this one, yes, I agree with this one. Um, Also, we we don't need duplicate shots. I know these look different to you, and they are. I get it. They're cropped differently and all, but to the site visitor, um, there's more here than they need. So it would be best, and this is something I do strongly uh, encourage you to do. Excuse me. It would be best just to choose a few of these, okay? Uh, Even just four to eight would be plenty, because this is really basically covered. And you're thinking about reportage in this kind of thing, where you're reporting on an area and covering it. Um, so if you have some changes, yeah, I would say it's hard. I know it's hard to break down and choose your best, but that's what you want to do, so that people can really look at uh, the images, your best that you have, and they will look at these, right? But some aren't that engaging, you know, and maybe this isn't the place to have all of these, you know. As you're building these throughout your career, a blog is a great place, because you can, it will organize those things for you, and you can write a little something about it. But yeah, I wouldn't have more than 12 if you can help it under your video. Okay. Let's see. So if we go to photography, the headshots I think could be smaller, and maybe not so many. Just you know, a few, 2, 4 is plenty, and they don't need to be so large. So this is good. This is good. Great. Great. But it begins to feel like it's one client in one sense. So I think just a few as a representation of your headshots. Okay. Okay, so this is again too much. And I know you have some of these on a photography page, and any duplicates we don't need. I think it was here. So, like I say, the images are fantastic. They're sharp. You can read the font. This is a heavier bolded font. If you meant to do that, perhaps you did. I don't think you need to say as well as. I think you can say produced, written, and edited. And because you already have it here, you don't need quite as much detail there. Okay. Where you have this, what you can do is, rather than list all of these, break them down by the talent that you've worked for. So, and selected credits is fine. We don't need everything. But let's say you have Jelly Roll and then you have a few things underneath it. This starts to look a little bit like a resume. I know it's credits, but it needs to be edited down. Okay, and one way to do that is to just list them, by this. Or any that you have multiple ones, you could just, have this be clickable, have a slash, and have this one next to it, this one next to it, or under it, but you could really have less scrolling there. And here's the thing, and once you realize the point, I won't have to go pick it out everywhere, but some of these really tell a story. These three together, even with that, tell a story. And if you just had those four underneath your video as behind the scenes, that would be more impactful than having all of them. Because, as I say, to the user, they're not so different. There's quite a few from the same location. Probably that is sufficient, or that, but not all of them. Maybe this and this. And instead of having them broken up like that, the ones you do use, go ahead and keep them together. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this with this, it feels duplicated. A couple more so than others. These two, I know that they're somewhat different in exposure maybe, but they're really similar. And so, yeah, I'm not going to beat this to death. Just streamline this and just choose. I know it's going to be hard, but you're not throwing them away. Just choose 4 from an event, maybe 6 at most, and keep those together, grouped together. Let's see. Okay. So if I say learn more, I have this, but now I'm going on to the next one. And this, your crew is actually better probably at the end of your video, right? Rather than having so much scrolling. I mean, it's very nice to provide that, but maybe it's on a different page, not within your sample work. Maybe you have a credit page, and you kind of list some of the projects, and then you can have the credits. Let's see. Yeah, so that's really the main thing, is kind of reducing clicking and scrolling, I think, is really all there is to it. possibly these could be on the same page, right? Okay. You have these, so you don't really need these. Yeah, I'm going to stop with that. I don't think this is clickable, marketing consulting. I didn't see anything about that, but okay. And you had casting as well. And maybe, you know, yeah, I don't think you need as much work on your Connect page, right? It's beautiful, but you've got them throughout your site. They just want to contact you for the most part. So, I mean, it's not a lot of scrolling compared to some of the other pages, so it's not that big a deal, but you don't really need that if the contact is there and you have it here. Okay. So that's the main thing. Paring down the kind of breadcrumbs that are throughout, and avoid duplicates. Okay, avoid duplicate videos, avoid duplicating photography. All right, but I have enormous faith in what you are able to do because it's just gorgeous work. All right, I hope that it's helped in some way. I know it's a big decision on your part to try and, make those edits. Probably painful, but I think you need it. I think it will be much clearer for your client. All right? All right. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever.